Now, you didn't think we were going to leave LA without doing an edition of Extra Time, did you? You were sorely wrong if you thought that, because we have your questions. We have plenty of them to answer. Starting with a rather aggressive question.
Okay.
With the start to the question, yo, all you clowns.
Okay. Yo.
From Alex.
Yo.
We owe Gonzalo Higuain an apology, apparently. We said he was finished, but he's having a great season again. All he does is score big goals for Juventus. Do we owe an apology to one G. Higuain?
I don't believe so.
No. No?
When evaluating Higuain for, say, Chelsea, there wasn't any sign given by him to try to argue a point for him. Now, at Juventus, the story has been slightly different.
Yep.
As for scoring big goals for Juventus, I think the big goals for Juventus are still to come.
Good point.
Whether that's Champions League, whether that's to win Serie A, and will those big goals be coming from Higuain, or will those big goals be coming from Cristiano Ronaldo? That remains to be seen.
I'll freely admit, though, he's been a whole lot better for Juventus than I expected him to be. Given what we've seen from him previously, given the fact that in the front line that includes Ronaldo, you wondered who would do the running. Dybala, who at times you thought was on his way out, somehow they made a front three and make it work very well. So I have no problem at all, Alex, admitting that I got that wrong.
Plenty did.
I am the clown, I guess Alex is talking about.
Yo.
Yeah. Less of the yo, though.
Right.
Clown I'm all right with.
Right.
I would also say that when we evaluate players, and we do this on a daily basis, and we get questions asked about players on a daily basis, we have to make that evaluation in the moment.
Yep.
We can't project that 4 months from now Higuain is scoring a goal or not. We are asked a question about what does Higuain look like now, and then, well, he looks a little thinner now than he did when he was at Chelsea. Now, here's the other thing. Last week, in Extra Time as well, we were asked about if you had your life on it, would you take Higuain or Lukaku to score a big goal? And I took Higuain.
Yep.
So, yo.
Yo.
Yo, Alex.
I think we told Alex there.
Yo, Alex.
Yo.
We're gonna
With my life on the line, I picked Higuain.
From Alex to Costa, for the two of you, I wonder which was the more surreal moment for the both of you when you first realized you could be or become a footballer, a professional footballer, or when you realized you were done and couldn't be one anymore, I guess is the question. What was the more surreal moment?
Well, it was surreal becoming a footballer.
Yeah.
You know, because, listen, growing up in Trinidad and Tobago, it's not what people did. And to kind of recognize that dream, albeit at the time with Reading and what is now League One, that was surreal.
Yeah.
And one, as much as you dream about, you never really think it's going to happen. Calling it today was tough, though.
Yeah.
It was tough psychologically, because now all of a sudden, this thing that had been your life for the last, in my circumstance, 15 years, having to call it a day on that dream was a tough call to make.
And having to face the stark reality of coming to work with us was part of it.
That was enough to drive me to tears. That was.
Yeah. Well, let's bring you into our world for a second. See, and similarly to Shaq, I come from a country that traditionally had been considered a baseball country, and so becoming a professional soccer player might have been a dream, but that was it. Right. And so much so that to please my parents, I chose perhaps the long way around in that I needed to go to college in the United States through a soccer scholarship to try to make sure that I could continue to pursue my dream, hoping that this could become something. So when it did become a reality, that in itself is, I think that's when you have to pinch yourself a little bit. I had the same experience when you get first called up to the national team as well, and you show up and it's like, wait a minute, now I'm representing a whole other group of people. When you're about to call it a career, however, there are signs. It's tough to make that transition, but I think it's tough to make that transition because of the fear of what's ahead, of the unknown. Because up until that point, you've been VIP. You've been on red carpet.
Yep.
You've been on walk this way. You're this guy. You score goals. You're special. You're awesome. You're the best. You're among the best 22 players in your country. You're on that sort of ride. And then once you call it a career, you're now a member of society.
Yeah.
And nobody cares one bit whether you scored a goal or not. And so coming to that realization and making sure that you're no longer on that pedestal, that's really the challenging part. And that's where the transition can be a struggle for certain guys.
You go from being one of the best players in your country to, yo, you clowns.
Yeah. Yo.
In
Oh,
one
you clowns.
tweet.
Well, Pearson suggests perhaps the playing days might not be over just yet. He says, what are you all doing after the show? Might I suggest going to the beach and hustling arrogant teens into pickup games of beach soccer with 80s music playing in the background? Not quite sure why.
Well, that's very detailed.
What does that have to do with hustling?
Pearson clearly has a vision of what he wants to see.
Well, Ali's been on this rather strict diet, get himself back in some kind of shape, but I'm not really sure why.
Well, because I was out of shape. I was in a shape.
Right.
It's a different shape.
Let's just say I don't feel those pressures. I am going to be hustling nobody to anybody's music.
No arrogant teens waiting.
Well, you do know that as part of this program that I'm a part of, I go and train sometimes, every so often, with my kids' team, the 17s and the 19s.
Who are teens.
Who are the definition of
arrogant
quote-unquote
teens.
arrogant teens.
Yeah.
And when I'm out on the field and you flip the switch, then you try to get through training. First of all, first priority, trying to get through training. Once I flip that switch and we're competing, I'm scoring goals and everything's feeling great, I feel fantastic. The moment that training session is over, it comes the stark realization, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me tell you something. Ali on the field with his kids' teams is the nightmarest of dads. He's kicking kids, telling these trash stories. Goodness.
I'm scoring goals, and that was a good one, wasn't it? I still got it, don't I? Yeah, I still got it.
Having brought up the concept of 80s music playing in the background on the beach, Noor follows it up with favorite music genre. Quite simply, I don't know.
Calypso.
Yeah.
It's only one music genre worth listening to.
Oh yeah.
I've found.
Okay. I'm a country guy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Didn't think you
But
were
not-
going down that.
I didn't see that coming.
No.
But I'm a sort of old school country, or let's go back to 90s country, if you will.
Yeah.
The country nowadays I'm not quite a fan of.
The modern country
I
doesn't do it.
can't quite do because it doesn't feel like country. But
Any trips to Nashville in your near future?
well, if it's part of the job that I have to do and somebody has to do that job, then clearly I am available.
Talking of those new teams in MLS, finally from Harsh, what went wrong with Inter Miami's promises of bringing in big names? So much hype and little to no star signings yet. Looking at this scenario, which player would best fit Beckham's dream team this season? It hasn't been quite what many people expected so far, we should say.
Well, yes, and there's still time.
Yeah.
But when you're putting together an expansion team, it's a challenging thing because you have to generate some sort of team chemistry from nowhere.
Yeah.
These players don't even know each other. And you have to be competitive from day one. And in order to do that, as much as you want to talk about big names and stars, and these are the guys that we're going to bring in, and these are the players the profile that we're going after, you have to have grinders, guys that know this league, guys that are familiar with this league, so that then you can build upon the foundation that you're creating. It's not going to be sexy for Inter Miami. Sometimes it's going to get ugly. And before you get to the superstars, before you get to the big names, you have to have a foundation. And I think that's what Inter Miami is trying to do, but they're playing catch-up.
And to the second part of that question, this is a discussion Ali have had many times in almost years building up. There's a challenge to building a team in Miami, which I'm sure you can speak to better. And how do you find, so in terms of who's that star, given the issues almost culturally around the game in Miami, how do you find that fit?
Like who are you appealing to, and who is a big name? And the other thing I would say is that the fact that they're not playing in Miami, that was a situation that created issues for the Miami Fusion. And you assume this is going to be different because of the sort of money that is behind this team and that they're going to do things right. But in order to do things right off the field, the most important thing is doing things right on the field.
Yeah.
And so it's a challenge of creating an atmosphere in which you generate interest within a community that sees the game from a different aspect culturally, and then creating chemistry on the field that comes out of nowhere. It's not easy to do, and I think because it's Beckham, and everybody think, well, hey, it's Beckham, so anything that he touches is going to be great. It's going to take some time.
Yeah. You know where Inter Miami start their life as an MLS team? Right behind us here, down on this
They better be ready to play.
Against LAFC, against Carlos Vela as well. March the 1st, the double-header to open up the MLS season. And that will do it for us. Thanks for all your questions. We will see you back on the East Coast very shortly.
Where it's nice and cold. Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.